I'm here today to do a review of the 1997 Dodge Viper GTS. What makes this car a little bit unique or different is that this is my own personal car, which I've owned for about 4 years, and it has been absolutely awesome. So I'm excited to share with you what I love and what I don't love about this car. Stay tuned. I did purchase this car with the K&N air filter already installed. This is the cold air intake, designed to make sure that the oxygen going into the engine is extremely cold, which holds more oxygen, thus relating to more power. This car also came with some aftermarket wheels. These here are Forge Line 19s in the front and 20s in the back. Really think they help give the car a more modern appearance. Those lines, though, are just classic and timeless in my opinion. And moving on to the engine here, we've got an 8-liter V10. A lot of people think that this was developed by Lamborghini because, in fact, Chrysler owned Lamborghini during the time that this engine was developed. However, Lamborghini, although they provided some input, did not design this engine. This is actually truly based off of a truck engine platform, the 8-liter V10 truck motor. For the GTS in 1997 and 1996, as compared to the original Gen 1 RT10s, they did increase horsepower by 50, and so they moved it up to 450 horsepower. Although many people that have dynoed these cars have found that the factory ratings at 450 are actually under horsepower, and they're typically putting out closer to 480 or 490 at the crank. Now, one interesting quirk about the car is I've had so many kids come up to me and ask what these black things are right here and right here. And you know, one thing that's quite interesting as we kind of come around the car, a lot of kids think that they're stereo speakers, and they think, whoa, that's so cool, you got stereo speakers on there. Actually, one thing that again is real interesting with the car is this one right here is part of the HVAC system, and the one over there is a dummy. It actually doesn't do anything. It's just again, to make sure that there was symmetry within the car. One thing you'll notice again about these windshield wipers, which again are pretty unique and kind of cool, I think, is the fact that they rotate from the center out, whereas a traditional wiper will go from the left side to the right side, you know, back and forth, and these actually have more of a mechanical motion to them. Another thing I have to point out that again was quite unique is the fact that the seatbelts are actually from the middle or the center of the car, whereas traditionally they're on the outside of the car. So I've had many passengers come in here and look for the seatbelt where they traditionally would find it in about every other car, and they frequently struggle, and I have to explain to them that hey, on this car they actually put the seatbelt in the middle of it. Another really interesting feature about this car is the door handle here. So this is actually electronically controlled, whereas on most cars they're mechanically controlled, although some of the newer cars are moving to the electronic door locks. However, again, considering this car is 23 years old, it was quite ahead of its time. So I'm gonna hit the button here, and you'll be able to hear the electronic servos activating. Now, in the event that your battery dies and you maybe can't get out of the car, you need to escape rapidly. They do have, and I love this, just this little touch here, reminiscent to me of a fighter, but pull for emergency exit. So this actually will manually operate the lever. Now, this has never happened to me, but I have understood that unfortunately, if the battery dies in the car, what that means is you can't get in this way. And as you'll see, there are actually no keyholes on the body at all. So the quickest and best way to do that is to actually take your key and mechanically open the trunk right here. Once that's open, Go ahead and lift up the hatch. But you reach through here. Now I manually got it open. And now I can get into my belongings or eventually replace the battery. Now, speaking of the trunk, I actually find that this is quite roomy. Now, this is an aftermarket, just kind of a trunk shield, if you will. However, underneath here, I've got plenty of room for my camera gear, as well as a mini spare tire under here, and some little cubbies on the side as well. Now, one more unique feature about this car, again, when you just think about some of these advantages that it had for, again, 1997, is right underneath here. Well, it's right here. I don't know if you can see it on camera there. Will allow you to adjust your pedals. So you can adjust the seat, but in addition to that, you'll also have the ability to adjust your pedals inside and outside. So you can really maintain kind of the perfect driving position for you. And while we're in here, I wanted to take a quick moment and operate the wipers, show you how cool they are. Well, now that we've done an exterior review, let's go ahead and get in and take it for a drive. All right, so driving impressions of this car. I just wanted to say that this is obviously stick shift, which, although it's a little bit more challenging, I really like it because it allows me to feel more connected with the car. In here, it's pretty Spartan, but everything is really close to, kind of set up like exactly how I would like it. So for my frame, everything fits perfect. It's all within reach. I love the black display on the white gauges. I think that gives a nice contrast to everything, and I've got everything that's important to me, right here. So I've got my battery, fuel, oil pressure, and temperature, as well as then right in front of me, I've got my speedometer and my tachometer as well. All right, so I'm in second gear right now, and I'm about to drop the hammer to show you what it can do, even at speed. So I'm traveling about 40 miles an hour, and I'm running at about 3,000 RPM with a red line of about 6,000. And 3, 2, 1. And up to 80, just like that. And of course, this is a closed road that we're on right now, and my speed is in kilometers per hour. One of the other features that I really like about this car is the view. I've got really small A-pillars here, and just a nice curved glass front. Just a nice curved glass front, which allows me to see just an excellent view of the road as it kind of wraps around me. One of the things that I don't like, although it's not a deal breaker for me, but the stereo / radio in here is absolutely horrific. So you can see that it's a nice Alpine unit. Comes actually factory standard that way, and as you saw earlier, it had an amplifier in the back. But there just is not a lot of punch, and it's one of the things that I hope to upgrade over time. Other than that, I don't have too many complaints about this car. Driving position is very natural for me, although some of my friends that are taller, when they drove this car, they did have some complaints about the length of their legs and how close the dashboard with the wraparound feel, how close that came, and they had some problems operating the clutch. Also, the pedals are quite close together, largely because of the large transaxle in the center due to the 8-liter V10. So that also caused some people that had wider shoes, they would hit the clutch and the brake at the same time. And so just a word of caution, if you end up with one of these in your stable, you'll want to make sure that you have some thinner shoes to go with it so you don't run into that same problem. bolt-on that I've got on here is upgraded brakes, which have done a tremendous job in helping improve the braking performance on this car, because what's the point of go if you don't have stop? So you'll see here I've got cross-drilled and slotted rotors, which again, as I said, dissipates the heat. So I've got tremendous braking ability in here, especially because this is a pre-ABS car. So there's no anti-lock brake in this car. There's no stability control in this car. And so it's even more important to actually have that stopping performance. So I've got this brake structure on all four wheels of the car. And then one other thing that's actually a factory piece is this VIPER caliper right here. So that's, you know, quite neat. Again, I think it really shows off and highlights with these wheels, since these are larger diameter wheels than what the factory had on them. Now, one thing that's different or unique in the 96 and 97 model years is the fog lamps down here. So in the first generations, 96s and 97s, this actually has a lens covering it. When they modified this in 98 and the later years, they actually removed this cover. Again, I find it really helpful because it helps keep me from rock chips, since it's, again, as we discussed, a low car. I really like the extra protection that affords. Now, one easy way to distinguish a 1996 from a 1997, especially when they both have stripes, is the 1997, the two white stripes actually stop in the license plate area and then pick up again on the lower bumper. The 1996 will actually run literally all the way through the entire car. So that's an easy way to look at a car with stripes and know right away, is it a 96 or a 97? And another fact that I wanted to point out to you is talk about the width of these rear tires back here. One interesting note is these rear tires are actually some of the thickest rear tires, fattest rear tires that are available on any production car ever. The only car that has wider tires than these right here is the Lamborghini Aventador. All right, so as we talked about earlier, one of my gripes in this car was the radio. One more gripe on the outside of the car is this ground clearance. Although I love the look of it being so low, I literally measured this at 2.5 inches to that bottom of that front air dam. So believe me, I scrape on everything. And so I've just learned to live with it, although it's not ideal, but if you want to drive the car, that's the price you got to pay.